Thank you for joining us for tonight's meeting of the City of Tacoma Park City Council. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Searcy.
Here.
Councilmember Fulcher.
Present.
Councilmember DeBala.
Present.
Councilmember Gibson.
Here.
Councilmember Siemens.
Present.
Councilmember Honzak.
Present.
Councilmember Small.
Yes, y'all.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us all this evening. I do want to do a run through of our agenda for this evening. We don't have any changes to the agenda this evening. We'll have a couple of proclamations in recognition of Dr. Gadsden, principal of Tacoma Park Elementary School and Washington Post, Principal of the Year, a proclamation of May as Mental Health Awareness Month. In terms of voting session this evening, we will be voting on the first reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 tax rates. The council will convene as a stormwater management board, and then we will have our first reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 stormwater management budget, the first reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 budget, and a resolution supporting the Maple Community Association Juneteenth event, as well as a single reading ordinance authorizing a contract with the NZI Construction Corp. For the Houston Avenue Stormwater Treatment Project. We will also have a work session this evening, a memorandum of agreement between the Maryland Office of Administrative Hearings and the City of Tacoma Park to provide an administrative law judge or retired judge to serve on disciplinary panels convened under the Maryland Police Accountability Act. In terms of upcoming meetings, on Wednesday, May the 15th, the council will meet at its regular time of 7:30. We will have a proclamation in recognition of National Peace Officers Memorial Day. As well as voting sessions, the second reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 tax rates, second reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 stormwater management budget, second reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 budget, and the single reading ordinance authorizing the city manager to sign a contract with the Human Circuit for Technical Services, City TV. We're going to be doing a lot of voting on this evening, y'all. Second reading ordinance authorizing the execution of a contract with the UKG for implementation, ongoing support, and maintenance of a human resources information system, as well as a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign a memorandum of agreement between the Maryland Office of Administrative Hearings and the City of Tacoma Park to provide administrative law judge or retired judge to serve on disciplinary panels convened under the Maryland Police Accountability Act. We'll also have two work sessions. The first is a wrap-up of the 2024 legislative session and discussion of legislative priorities to submit to the Maryland Municipal League, as well as a discussion of the FY 2026 budget resolution. On Wednesday, May the 22nd, the council will meet at its regularly scheduled time at 7:30. We will have a priorities meeting with the SHA administrator, the council priorities meeting with the Maryland Department of Transportation SHA administrator, William Pines. We will have a voting session, resolution authorizing submittal of the 2025 legislative action request to the Maryland Municipal League, as well as work sessions tentatively scheduled. Tentatively, the quarterly financial report for the third quarter, administrative regulations addressing processes to request, evaluate, and advance traffic calming and sidewalk installations. And then on Monday, the 27th of May, is the Memorial Day weekend. So with that, we are going to move to our items for the record this evening. And the first item that we have on the agenda for tonight is recognition of Dr. Zadia T. Gadsden, principal of Tacoma Park Elementary School and Washington Post, Principal of the Year. And I'm just going to read the acknowledgement. In honor of 2 decades of extraordinary dedication and invaluable contributions to Tacoma Park Elementary School and the City of Tacoma Park, we extend our deepest gratitude. Your unwavering commitment and passionate service have left an indelible mark on our community. With great admiration, we proudly recognize your exceptional accomplishments and the profound impact you have made on the lives of countless students. So with that, we honor Dr. Gadsden. But before we do the photo op and present you with your certificate, I know that there are members of the council. I had to say, like, there are members of the council that would love to love on you more. So Councilmember Small did ask to gloat a little bit.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I appreciate this tremendously because I am unreservedly happy about this particular award. And anecdotally, the reason for that is that I got to watch you do a lot of wonderful things with both of my children, like in an intimate, personal interaction as you being a principal. Which, if you know things, like you can only go see the principal really if you're doing sort of bad things or sort of good things. And so to have seen you a lot in the context of things would ordinarily be a bad thing. However, I've seen you a lot because of aftercare. And when you have to drive all over the city and be someplace by 6 o'clock, it's an urgent matter to get there so you're not paying extra or whatever else and you're not jamming people up. And the sheer number of times that I engaged in long conversations with staff members who were participating in aftercare and being paid to be there, and saw you scurrying around your building to ensure that you would certainly deserve this award is a testament to a variety of things, not the least of which is how much you care about not only your job, but the kids in your neighborhood and the melanated boys that you send forth into the world. Since that's all I can really talk about, that's what I would like to say. And my deepest regret is that my youngest son did not get to spend his 3rd grade year under your esteemed tutelage due to the COVID restrictions. But thank you for being wonderful to my kids in particular and all kids in general.
Thank you, Councilmember Small. Councilmember Fulcher?
Thank you. You know, as the one who's gotten to send 4 kids through you, I feel really fortunate that you have stuck with us for so long, that I've been able to do that. When you got your doctorate, I thought for sure you would leave us, but now we just have Principal Dr. Gadsden, which is amazing. And I myself have, I have looked at how you have interacted with our community, and I draw a lot of what I do in my life as a Girl Scout leader and now on council from watching you. So thank you very much for that.
Before we give you your well-deserved flowers, I just want to say how grateful I am to have you as a partner, to have you as someone in our community who truly, as Councilmember Small and Councilmember Fulcher have highlighted, truly love our children, even when they make it hard to love. And I know that during COVID and after COVID, all of our educators have been tested to the max, and you have been able to continue to impart into our children despite those difficulties and nurture them through their transition out of the pandemic. So I am so grateful to have you here today. Really happy to give you the certificate, but more importantly, we have a little something extra. So I would love for you to just come up so that we can love on you some more and take a couple of photo ops. Thank you so much. Okay.
She's worked a full day.
Thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have a mayoral proclamation recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month. Whereas Mental Health Awareness Month was celebrated in 1949 to increase awareness of the importance of mental health and wellness in the lives of Americans. And whereas mental health is fundamental to everyone's overall health and well-being, greatly influencing the way we think, feel, and interact in our daily lives. And whereas nearly 1 in 5 adults and 1 in 5 adolescents in the United States live with a mental illness, and whereas the stigma of mental illness and misinformation can lead to devastating effects on the well-being of an individual and their community, and whereas suicide is the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 to 14 and 25 to 34, and the third leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 15 and 24. And whereas 15 and 24. And whereas Mental Health Awareness Month highlights the importance of access to mental health care and support services, advocating for equitable access to treatment, resources, and interventions that address the diverse needs of individuals experiencing mental health challenges. And whereas the City of Tacoma Park is committed to providing access to mental health services, including initiating a mental health crisis counselor pilot program to address mental health and related needs in the community by moving toward a non-policing approach to mental health crisis intervention. And whereas the month of May is time to promote mental health awareness and show individual respect and acceptance and learn more about mental health. Now, therefore, I, Talisha Searcy, Mayor of the City of Tacoma Park, proclaim May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month and call upon the Tacoma Park community to commit to raising awareness and understanding of mental health, as well as the need for comprehensive and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. Thank you. All right. And so with that, we're going to move into public comments on voting items. Do we have any public comments on voting items this evening?
Okay, let's move on.
All right. Do we have any? Okay, I see hands raised. Give us 1 second. All right. Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Oh, hello. Sorry
So,
about that.
our city clerk stepped away for a second to help with managing the public comments. So for those that are participating virtually, I do see 2 participant hands for voting items. So I'm just asking for your patience as we go.
Point of order, Mayor, I'd just like to apologize to you because this is technically because of me, because I had asked for some sort of an aspirin type thing, and it was a courtesy from Irma, so apologies.
No worries. We are flexible here. So with that, I am going to just start with general public comments in the room, if there are no comments on voting items, while we get our virtual comments set up. So are there any comments in the room on voting items? And just as a reminder for everyone on what the voting items are, we are voting tonight, it's a lot of stuff. The 2025 tax rates, the FY 2025 stormwater management budget, the FY 2025 budget, a resolution supporting the Maple Community Association Juneteenth event, and a single reading ordinance authorizing a contract with NZI Construction Corp. For the Houston Avenue Stormwater Treatment Project. Do we have any public comments on voting items? Okay. So with that, we're going to move to general public comments in the room, knowing that we're going to go back to folks virtually so that we can provide their time as well. So do we have any general public comments this evening in the room?
Good evening, Sue Miller, Ward 3.
As a longtime journalist, I recognize that the Tacoma Park News, the city's newsletter, is not an actual news outlet, but a public relations organ. And I realize it is in no way the fault of the city that we have no independent local news anymore. No Gazette, no Voice, and a dramatic reduction in local coverage by the Post. Nevertheless, residents have a right to expect factual accuracy in the newsletter, and unfortunately, the article in the May issue on the minor master plan amendment is filled with spin and misinformation. Someone who did not follow the process closely would be left with the reassuring impression that there will be no net loss of affordable housing and a right to return if buildings are renovated or replaced. And yet, the stark reality is that the plan does not ensure either of those outcomes in any way. So I'm here tonight to correct the record and urge you to print corrections. The article contains a quote stating that the plan, quote, explicitly calls out the right to return. What does the ambiguous term call out mean here? Perhaps it means simply the right to return was discussed or mentioned, because the truth is that the plan does not ensure any such right to return. It says only that priority should be given to eligible residents to return. So if the developer defines eligibility as ability to pay what we know will be a new higher market rate rent, then residents will be displaced. Then there's a reference in the article to having, quote, strengthened plan language around no net loss of affordability. But the plan calls only for preserving affordable housing where practicable. What if the developer does not deem it practicable? And the plan calls only for, quote, striving for no net loss. Striving is not ensuring. As for displacement, the plan only, quote, recommends strategies to minimize displacement. A recommendation to develop strategies is not the same as a requirement to prevent displacement. And when the plan talks about minimizing displacement, it is acknowledging, as the Planning Board Vice Chair acknowledged, that there will be displacement. So, as we grapple with the fallout from this plan, with the sale of buildings and renovations to come, with continuing attacks on our strong rent stabilization policy, and as the city works on tenant outreach, we must strive for complete and timely accuracy and transparency. Anything short of this creates further erosion of trust. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other general public comments?
Hi, I'm Carolina McCandless. I'm here on behalf of my business, Cielo Rojo in Tacoma Park. So I'm here just to file a formal complaint and kind of get everybody here on board with the new intersection issues at Carroll and East-West Highway. I just wanted to say publicly that this has negatively impacted our business. Prior to this happening, I was afraid of this intersection change, and I had voiced it to the city, and I would have hoped that the city had fought hard with SHA about this change, but I think there was some communication issues there that made it so that they made this change very quickly without much input from the community. And I'm here to say that I really think that this should be changed. I think we do need the two sections of the road in front of our restaurant. One, because it's a lot more dangerous now than it was before. Even though there's not a second lane, cars are still passing onto the other side of the road, and now there's cars coming the other direction that could hit them head on. I've seen buses do this as well, and I think it's kind of funny that this change was made for the safety of buses and pedestrians, when now it's even more dangerous than before. Not only that, for our businesses in particular, there's nonstop honking now during rush hour because cars are getting angry when cars aren't passing left. They're honking nonstop. When the cars pass left and the cars are coming the other direction, they're honking at them because they're in their lane. I foresee a very bad accident happening soon. There's already been an accident with a bus and a car since this has changed. So I think it's something that should be very pressing for the city of Tacoma Park to stand up and support not only our business and, functioning properly, but also the residents of Tacoma Park who are now pretty pissed off at the backlog of traffic that's happened due to this change. Also, they put a no standing, no parking sign right in front of our business now, essentially saying that deliveries cannot be made to our business. We invested a lot of money into this property in 2 years to build it, and this was under the assumption of how the road was built. We knew that it would work the way it was built before, and it did. We never had any issues. We have our deliveries early in the morning. We had 2 lanes. Cars would easily pass to the left of the delivery trucks, and now if a delivery truck delivers to us, there's nowhere to go. Not only that, the fire station next door, they're gonna have a really hard time getting out in case of an emergency during rush hour because there's no way for them to get around traffic. And they've also expressed to me, different firefighters have said to me how frustrating it is now with this new intersection, how blocked up that intersection gets. It's actually could be detrimental to residents in case of a fire. So please take all of this into consideration and stand up to SHA together. They're not going to do anything about it unless the city of Tacoma Park says it's not workable. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other general public comments?
If you could please stay also for my public comment, I would love to tell you something publicly.
Okay. I requested 5 minutes.
That's correct.
Will I see my time somewhere?
Do you see your time? It's above your presentation. Do you see it there or no? Okay, we'll restart it. Hold on one second. Okay, can you see it now, Mark?
Up there, thank you
Okay.
so much. Mark Sherman, Hancock Avenue, Ward 1. A couple of weeks ago, I came here and actually did something I'd never done before, which is to ask to interrupt council proceedings. The mayor was gracious enough to let me do that because on the evening of April 17th, state highway trucks came and rearranged the entire intersection of Carroll and Philadelphia. This presentation will walk through some of the history and what's at stake. In 1935, the Bethesda Silver Spring Highway was extended through Tacoma Park. To help people turn into and out of Philadelphia, the city bought part of the property at the northeast corner in 1948. In 1953, the city did the same thing at the northwest corner. Those 2 parcels belong to the city of Tacoma Park to this day. These purchases made it possible to create rounded corners on each side. In addition, the sidewalk was pushed in, making it 5 feet wide. But last year, the State Highway Administration decided to push the sidewalk out, making it 7 feet wide at one point. Immediately, buses started climbing the curb. And this is a short video. Sorry about that. Having ridden that bus for 20 years, I can Here we go. So in taking that portion of the roadway, the State Highway Administration recreated the problem that the city tried to solve so many years ago by purchasing those little pieces of each corner. This is the deed in which that was sold to the city for the sum of $150. So SHA's argument for doing this is that it needed more space around the push-button pole. It certainly is big, yet the base of that pole is 15 inches and the slab is 20 inches. But new poles, like this one in front of the fire station, have an 8-inch base. Here's another example near the bakery at Carroll and Grant. Such poles have a smaller slab. And this is my most important slide. Poles can be recessed to get them out of the way. If this had been done at Carroll and Philadelphia, none of this would have been necessary, and it's still possible to do this. Rather than do this, SHA decided to rearrange the entire intersection. This created an empty space where no one was supposed to go, and that's what happened 12 days after the trucks came in and restriped everything. Meanwhile, SHA removed part of one of the eastbound lanes, as Carolina just described, in front of Cielo Rojo. Many drivers simply ignore the new lines. They do not work because they are disrupting the natural flow of traffic. There are 2 highways. Each highway needs its own lane, Carroll Avenue and East-West Highway. Even drivers for ride-on do this because they have to. They have to get into the left-hand lane. That's actually Carroll Avenue that SHA would have us believe is no longer needed. After all, it's not really a turn lane, which is how SHA describes it. It's the through lane for Carroll. It's also a lane the fire department needs if they're turning right out of the station. That was the lane they were able to use when the other lane was full. They can't do that anymore. So let me go to my next slide, if I can. So what's the solution? First, change the base of the push button pole to the 8-inch size, recess the pole, and finally put everything back the way it was before. All it takes is an admission on the part of SHA that they made an error. That's not easy, but if the city stands up for itself, then our representatives in Annapolis can go to bat for us. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other general public comments? Okay. And again, I want to send my sincere apologies to folks that are virtually providing comments. Do we have any virtual comments this evening on voting items?
We have one person, Mr. Andy Breen.
Okay, great.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, sorry about that. I was waiting to speak for items not on the agenda. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Same time.
Yep, it's fine. Go right ahead.
I can speak about items not on the agenda right now?
Yes, you can.
All right, awesome. Okay. I have a few things I'd like to speak about. The Goyim are noticing a great amount of anti-whiteism coming from federal, state, and local governments. We have governments run programs that give assistance to non-whites only, such as housing vouchers to asylum seekers. We have a criminal justice system that lets criminals burn, loot, and murder, but investigates Christians praying at baby murder factories.
Yeah, can we,
As a point of order, this is
can
a
we
racist bomb.
block that? And I also,
I'm just going to keep talking until she gets it
Yeah.
together over there so we have extra noise and whatnot.
okay. Perfect. I also think that it looks like there's about 12 folks that are here. Okay, because it looks like there were about 12 folks that were participating in the meeting. Okay. Okay, no, so it just seemed like there was a lot of participants here. Are they all us?
Yeah, there was only one that was the guy that Jesse said, so.
Okay,
Yeah, there are no other.
okay,
Well done, everyone. I just, point of order, that was well done, Mayor.
yeah, awesome. All right, so do we have, okay, it looks like we have, this is the end of our comment period. So let's move on to, actually, I want to break just a little bit and have our city manager to provide the update on the SHA work that the city has been doing to address Tacoma Junction.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. Yeah, I'd like to provide a bit of an update on the State Highway Administration's changes to the intersection at Carroll Avenue and Philadelphia Avenue. My staff and I met last week with SHA in a meeting that we called for to discuss the multiple functional and safety problems with this intersection since SHA has made some changes to it. This includes the elimination of a westbound traffic lane on Carroll Avenue, altering the metrics of the intersection of Carroll and Philadelphia by widening a corner sidewalk, thereby causing more difficulty in navigating it, creating conditions whereby vehicular traffic backs up, blocks the intersection, and the coming and going of fire trucks and rescue apparatus from the adjacent volunteer fire department. Vehicles try to drive around other vehicles that are stalled or stopped, creating a traffic pattern that conflicts and is thus unsafe. Vehicles then honk their horns, and there is much driver frustration, especially at peak traffic hours. In the midst of all of this, pedestrians try to navigate crosswalks at this intersection that is all too often blocked with motor vehicles. All of these are serious concerns that the city has been bringing to SHA's attention. At the meeting last week, city staff made these points all over again, and with District 3 Chief Engineer, Mr. Derek Gunn, in attendance, which we appreciated that he was there. We were able to show photographs of accidents and described how they occurred as a result of the altered design and the implementation such as they did by SHA. Mr. Gunn acknowledged at this meeting that SHA had not yet installed all of the signage that was to attend this project, and that the old lines painted on the roadway were not adequately blacked out, since they can still be seen. He conceded that these things would add to the confusion for drivers that's been occurring. City staff also pointed out that there is a lack of lane guidelines in the intersection itself, particularly as they pushed back the stop bars, the markings that indicate where traffic needs to stop before progressing through the intersection. And that drivers are making right turns onto Philadelphia from what is no longer a travel lane, which puts them in conflict with vehicles that are making that hard right-hand turn from the legitimate turn lane. It needs to be made clear to drivers that this space is not a turn lane, perhaps with much cross-hatching or other methods. Mr. Gunn then committed to revisiting the overall plan in order to address all of our concerns and getting back to us, which we insisted needed to be soon. He agreed to my request that once all of SHA's additional work is completed, that SHA would provide the city with a written report providing their assessment of functional and how functional and safe the intersection is at that point in their opinion. I said that the city would then evaluate the performance of SHA's changes and advise them, SHA, of whether or not, in our opinion, even more would need to be done. Mr. Gunn agreed to this approach. Last Thursday, I personally called Mr. Gunn and had a one-on-one conversation with him to reinforce the city's points and impress upon him that this problem needs to be addressed as soon as possible. He agreed, and I said that I would be calling him again regularly for updates. It remains to be seen whether the reduction of 2 westbound lanes to 1 lane will ultimately work. And perhaps SHA's sidewalk alteration will have to be revisited by SHA as well. It is my understanding that SHA will not reconsider their sidewalk construction component of their project until they feel they've completed the current roadway and signage work that they have yet to do, and to evaluate their final product. My staff and I will continue to keep the mayor and council and public informed regarding this matter.
Thank you very much. And so we're going to go back to our regular schedule. I just want to check to see, I see a light. Are there, okay, perfect.
I had a question too.
In order, it's me, then Terry, then her.
I just want to make sure that we're talking, are there questions about what the city manager just shared, or are those for public comments?
I don't know, maybe a little both. I'd just like to tell I would tell the city manager about this, that basically with regard to the way that that particular agency operates, there is nothing else that you could be doing besides trying to attempt to make them do the things that they are statutorily required to do. And so just keep doing that, and I'll probably just keep doing what I am doing.
Okay, Councilmember Small, Councilmember DeBala, do you have a follow-up question to the city manager's comments before we move into council comments?
Yes, I do. I have a question as to whether the city manager feels there's a usefulness to some council handbook regarding your request to SHA for a formal report back to the city, or you feel like you're gonna get it and we don't need to do that.
Well, I may have stepped out a little bit, but during that meeting, I indicated that I was speaking not only on behalf of myself, but the mayor and council.
Thank you.
But of course, it would be your pleasure if you wish to do anything more formally for the record.
I would also like to remind colleagues that we do have SHA will be participating in an upcoming city council meeting on the 22nd.
Right.
So Councilmember Gibson, is it public comments or are there questions about?
Just
Go right ahead.
in follow-up, but just wanted to say that I've indicated to the city manager my engagement on this issue, and it started before it actually happened, and have been involved to try and inform Cielo Rojo, Carolina, and I want to give appreciations to Mark Sherman for his vigilance and journalism on this that helps us make the case. And so I am 100% behind our continued pressure on SHA. This is important. It's important to the business. It's important to pedestrians and traffic. I mean, I was there also immediately after an accident. So I appreciate what you're doing, city manager, and you've got my back. I've got your back.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move into council comments. Councilmember Small.
Thank you, Mayor. As always, I will attempt to comport myself with the appropriate time limits. I would just like to say a couple of things. First of all, on my anniversary, I was unfortunate enough to witness every single thing that the esteemed owner of Cielo Rojo talked about during her presentation. I sent her a video, so for her advocacy from now on, she actually has video of exactly what she was talking about happening, just so everybody up here knows. Happy anniversary to me, 16, it was great. Next, wow, what a budget. I would just like to say again that the profound mundaneness of this budget, as monitored from appropriate distances in central Illinois as I could, is a testament to the staff in particular, because some of the things that we had talked about the time before about how come we just don't know what it is that you want to do and things like that. We're all replete within this budget, and it is to be laid at the feet of every single staff person, every single manager, and our new city manager, so bravo. The other things are about quality of life and the rising tides, and beef, I guess, in the long run, because all these things are the same and they all actually go back to SHA as well. If you pay any attention to Ward 6 or my travails in trying to get anybody to pay attention to SHA and what they're doing at Ward 6, then you will know that it's gotten worse, or that in addition to that, there's any number of economic stresses that are now at play, I don't know, alcoholism and shoplifters and lots of other things, because the reality of the landscape for people who are under pressure is changing. While that changes, I would still like for everyone who gets be in their bonnet about what SHA has done in the nice middle of our town to acknowledge the fact that there are substantive issues all the way up and down New Hampshire Avenue and University Boulevard. So much so that Clutch, the band, would have actually made a song called Worm Drink about getting wasted by driving down those roads to go to TikTok Liquor. Now, just because TikTok ain't there no more doesn't mean people don't spend an inordinate amount of time at the liquor stores there and on both sides of the line. And so if you think that I am not going to take advantage of an opportunity to get people to pay attention to a place that no one pays attention to generally, outside of an election cycle, it seems to matter a great deal to a lot of people, then you are incorrect. And when they come here, they will be answering for all of these things and not just the middle of town. Thank you.
Councilmember Siemens?
Thank you, Mayor. And I assure you that I will probably run over tonight. Give my apologies. Not too long ago, Montgomery Housing Partnership purchased the Franklin Apartments on Maple Avenue. It's the home and residence of many senior citizens and also many people who have disabilities. It is all subsidized units in that building. And at the time that Montgomery Housing Partnership purchased that building, they were still struggling to get the finances in place for their purchase. And I was glad to see this week that JBG Smith, a development company, has worked in agreement with Montgomery Housing Partnership to provide them with the extra funds they need, the extra $6 million that they needed to finalize their financing of the Franklin apartment building. And in exchange for that, it was not so it could be developed into something bigger, but JBG Smith had goals that they had to meet for affordable housing units, and so they were able to use the units in that building to meet their affordable housing goals. So some of the fears that had taken place during their minor master plan regarding whether or not that building was going to be redeveloped, it looks like it is safe for a number of years on into the future. So the residents there can rest assured that they will still have a home there. In fact, Rob Goldman, the president of Montgomery Housing Partnership, said that with rising rates in recent years, this refinancing allows us to stabilize costs and preserve affordable housing for seniors and people with disabilities. And like I say, I was really glad to hear that. On kind of a related note, I know, people are looking for affordable housing, and I'd just like to highlight two opportunities here in Ward 4. There's a condominium for sale in the Hilltop condominiums for $210,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath unit. And there is another one for sale at 116 Lee Avenue. It's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath that is, I didn't write the price down here, but it was under the 210. It was under $200,000. So if anyone has interest in that and aren't able to find those, they can certainly give me a call. The other thing I wanted to mention was the Purple Line. And I've got good news and bad news. Which do you want to hear first? Huh? All right, well, the bad news, I've heard a call out for the bad news. Shortly, sometime after spring, the Purple Line construction is going to affect the Wayne Avenue. They're going to be putting tracks down the middle of Wayne Avenue. And so people who use Dale Drive to commute are going to find that it's not an easy commute anymore, because when you get to Wayne Avenue on Dale Drive, no matter which direction you're coming from, you're going to have to turn left or right. You're not going to be able to proceed straight across. And the good news is not only that we'll soon have the Purple Line. I say soon in development time. That means sometime in 2027 probably. But the other good news I have is that many people have been concerned about traffic conditions at Piney Branch and Ritchie Avenue because of the 4-way stops that are there. The 4-way stop signs have been very helpful for people using Ritchie Avenue. They've now been able to get out onto Piney Branch Road or cross Piney Branch Road in a safe manner and timely manner, but now that has also caused some backups on Piney Branch Road. And related to the Purple Line construction, the State Highway Administration has said that they are thinking, they haven't actually committed to it, but they are thinking about installing a temporary traffic light at the corner of Piney Branch and Ritchie Avenue to ease traffic through that area. It's hard for me to think that it's going to be just temporary when the reason that we were told that the four-way stop was installed is because they had already seen the need for a traffic light at Piney Branch and Ritchie Avenue, but that they did not have the budget to do it. So if they're going to put one in temporary, it seems like it's going to be pretty cheap to just leave it stay there and solve the problem in the long term. Anyways, I thank you and apologize if I ran over.
No problem at all, Councilmember Siemens, and we will be making a pitch to make sure that temporary light is permanent. Councilmember Gibson?
Just a upbeat note, this May 11th, this Saturday, 2 to 6, Porch Fest. So it's one of my favorite things to go to people's houses and porches and listen to music. So just get out there Saturday and visit some of your neighbors and local musicians.
Thank you, Councilmember Gibson. Councilmember Honzak.
Thank you. I hope I won't go long. I have a statement prepared. I wanted to tonight acknowledge the passing of a beloved member of our Long Branch area community, Art Cobb, who was a jazz and Tacoma Park Long Branch advocate. I don't know if all of you knew him. There will be a memorial celebration of his life on June 11th at El Golfo, where his jazz band played many nights to the delight of Tacoma Park Long Branch neighbors. And I would also like to share a few words about how Art has permanently left his mark on what is today a vibrant Tacoma Long Branch culture. I'm right at the tip of Ward 5. Before 2008, there was no live music in Long Branch. And around that time, Art Cobb had the vision of transforming El Golfo into a music venue and sharing his love of music across the community. He brought his own band, the reassembled Greater U Street Jazz Collective, and began to perform there regularly. Other local musicians then began to ask the owner of El Golfo if they could also play at the venue. Today, El Golfo has live music performances regularly throughout the week. And what is more, Art also had the idea of bringing music to the Flower Avenue Urban Park area. His band was the first to start playing live music in the park and doing so for free around 2015, 2016, before there was even a stage in that park. Today's Long Branch now has a Flower Avenue Urban Park with a permanent stage that regularly features live music, including the annual Long Branch Festival that's now a defining feature of our Ward 5 and Long Branch area culture. I, unfortunately for me, did not know Art on a personal level, but I just learned from one of his friends that he dreamed of having flowers and music up and down Flower Avenue. Last Sunday, after the wonderful live mariachi music playing in Long Branch on Cinco de Mayo, children from the Long Branch and Ward 5 community, along with our mayor and Councilmember Dbala and I and others from our community, gathered on Flower and potted 130 native flower seed plants. They're going to be distributed by the children of the Flower Avenue Tacoma Park Cooperative Nursery School in a wagon in the coming few weeks. Thank you, Art, for the legacy that you have left for all of us and for future and generations to enjoy.
Thank you, Councilmember Honzak. Councilmember Dbala?
Yes, nothing nearly so exciting. Two things. One, reminder that city committees are open for anyone to apply to join them till, I think it's mid-June, till mid-June the applications are open, I believe. And there's information on the website about how to apply. So this is our semi-annual recruitment, and we hope to see a lot of applications. Second thing, sadly, although the workshop we had planned next week with Long Branch Sligo Community Association on how to remove your racial covenant from your deed is going to have to be rescheduled. So if you were planning to come, email me or David Reed, the Long Branch Sligo Community Association president, and let us know that you were interested, and we'll let you know when it's rescheduled. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember DeBala. Councilmember Fulcher.
Thank you. I am feeling really well taken care of as a city, that we have a fully staffed city manager office. The State Highway Administration is not an easy nut to crack. They are their own agency that we do not have any jurisdiction over, and they do not bend to our will or really care what our will is at all. I'm waiting on a beacon at the intersection of Chicago and Philadelphia to help students cross that are going to Montgomery College. And Councilmember Kovar was waiting on that too. And that was a promise made to Councilmember Kovar that they are supposed to have completed by June 1st. By June of this month, or of this year, so we'll see. I feel like that's more likely to happen now that we have 3 people working in the city manager's office. So I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. I think you guys are just the right amount of congenial and just the right amount of annoying to make it happen. So keep on nudging. I appreciate your work. Today we were told, and this is something we've been working on since 2022, 2023, getting the red light cameras, and that we now have gotten approved to have that. It has not been from the city of Tacoma Park not doing everything that they could, and it took our state legislators getting involved and having a fully staffed city manager office in order to make that thing happen. So thank you all for that. You know, I'm also the Ritchie and Piney Branch intersection receiving that light. That is not necessarily from us getting anywhere. It is because of the Purple Line construction that they were like, well, we need to do this temporary thing. So I'm really excited that the stars magically aligned and they are not taking away that light as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And then I just want to make sure that people are aware of the Tacoma Flea, which will be happening at Grant and Carroll on Saturday, May 11th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's another one of those weekends where there's lots of stuff going on in Tacoma Park. I will not be here. I will be celebrating my oldest Girl Scout troop. They are bridging to adults. And so we're going away camping this weekend, and I will be bawling like a little baby. So I hope that everybody else has a wonderful time enjoying our city.
Thank you, Councilmember Fulcher. Because we did not meet last week, I feel like there was a lot of things that happened last weekend as well that I do just want to acknowledge, in addition to a number of things that are happening this week. So last weekend saw a number of folks. Councilmember Honzak mentioned the sticker contest drawings and the postings that happened on Flower Avenue. So thankful that she organized that. I had the opportunity to give the welcome at the Washington Adventist University graduation ceremony. So congratulations to all of the graduates from WAU, and so grateful that I had the opportunity to share in that momentous occasion in so many young people's lives. Graduating college is, it's a great thing. So I had a chance to do that. Also, we had the business fair, the children's business fair. That was so cool. I walked away with far more baked goods than I could have ever imagined, and popcorn. I know I'm supposed to have 2 minutes, but let me just say. So I go to one of the stalls. It's a very popular stall. It's the Just Pop. Yeah, the Just Pop It. So they have delicious popcorn, different mixes. You know, you can have a party mix and all. So I show up and there's only 3 bags left. And I know. And so I had to get the party mix and I had to get the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And I was like, what am I gonna do with Cinnamon Toast Crunch combined with butter popcorn? Like, who does this? They do, and it was delicious. So
Thanks for popping with us.
Thanks for popping. It was delicious. I never would have thought Cinnamon Toast Crunch with buttered popcorn would be so delicious. It was. And so just saying that to say, I want to encourage everyone when the Children's Business Fair is happening in Old Town, go out, support our youth. They work so hard on the business concepts, and the packaging is so professional. And
Shout out to the adults that do this, like Dwayne and Tracy and all the other people who like
Yes.
herd cats for this thing real time.
Yes, all of the organizers, because it truly was a wonderful event. So much so they have far more people, far more kids that apply than they have room to support them. So it's such a popular thing, and it teaches so many of our kids life skills around business and entrepreneurship. So I want to thank the organizers of the business fair, and also thank you to Tacoma Foundation. It rained, but the beer fest still happened. So really was a great way to spend a lot of quality time in the city over the weekend last week. In terms of what's coming up, so just as a reminder actually, big thing I forgot, today had the chance to participate in the Green Bank celebration, the Montgomery County Green Bank celebration of the Tacoma Overlook and the Hampshire Towers projects that are happening in terms of sustainability. I mean, it is amazing. The Hampshire Towers will become one of the resilience hubs for the county, where there's affordable housing. They have done lots of full building electrification efforts. There's just so many wonderful things that are happening in the city of Tacoma Park to make sure that the people who live in affordable housing within our community have access to quality housing. So I want to thank again all of the folks from the Montgomery County Green Bank, PEPCO, WSSC, as well as the Montgomery County Department of Housing for working with Orlo to bring in multiple millions of dollars to do that project. And also for the Overlook as well, they also provided resources. And during that presentation, Councilmember Small, Washington Gas provided them with the Overlook with a $97,000 check. Yes.
Because they
Yes.
owe people
Yeah.
for rebates
Yeah.
for the time when God,
Yep.
excellent work. Good for you guys.
Yeah. So because of all of the
Good
wonderful
for
work that they
HCD.
Yeah.
Let's spread that all the way down from the top to all the way through. Well
Yes.
done, you guys.
Yes. So all of the advocacy of the residents and the property owners and also our staff that have been working behind the scenes to connect people to the right sources is paying off. And so I just want to highlight, because it was a wonderful celebration today on the green, and to just really hear about the wonderful renovations that are being made. It's funny, I hadn't been out there in a while, and I thought about why, and it was because they fixed a lot of the things that were problematic in particularly in the Hampshire Towers building. So it's,
And people get along too. Like
Yeah.
they stop, like everybody's like one big like vertical place where it's too loud because motorcycles are mean.
It's a really, really good to see progress. I want to thank Ian, Dory, all of the staff within the city that worked to help to foster this relationship, because it is such a wonderful, wonderful thing to be one of the first energy hubs in terms of affordable housing. Last thing, I
Mayor,
know I'm
point of
over.
order for you though. Also, I'd like to give you some additional shine here, because the truth about this also is that the Overlook was going to get left out because they were not a building with a big owner. And through your continued advocacy with the local board, they got in on the mix. And so good on you.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Last update, just as a reminder for folks, this is for folks in Ward 6. Purple Line Community Advisory Team meeting is tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So just as a reminder, those meetings, it's a virtual meeting. Those meetings are really important, not only to help with understanding the schedule for construction and kind of where things are, but also to make sure that you're able to provide some feedback in terms of what are some of the challenges that you're experiencing with construction. So I do want to encourage folks to participate in that. And I've talked long enough, and with that, I'll turn things over to the city manager.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. Some reports from a few of the departments. Finance. The finance staff is currently processing the levy year 2023 homeowners property tax rebate and renter tax rebate. Checks will be issued by the city to eligible homeowners and renters next week. A total of 81 households have benefited from the homeowners program, receiving a combined check payment amount of $121,889. In alignment with the City Council's dedication to providing affordable housing in Tacoma Park, the supplement amount has increased since its establishment in 1991. Presently, the city's supplements constitute 50% of the state tax credit or the total tax due, whichever is lower. In recent years, the city has also introduced the renter's tax credit. For the levy year 2023, Tacoma Park renters are receiving a payment totaling $1,930 through the city's local supplemental program. From Housing and Community Development Department, since May is National Bike Month, Safe Routes to School Coordinator Casey Ann Webley and the Housing and Community Development Department have prepared a full slate of events and activities to promote safe biking in Tacoma Park. These events include May 11th, Learn to Ride class at Tacoma Junction Lot from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. May 12th, Bike Repair Pop-Up at the Tacoma Park Farmers Market. May 15th, Bike Repair Pop-Up at Crossroads Farmers Market. And May 17th, Bike to Work Day with city-sponsored stops at Sligo Creek, Tacoma Bicycle, Tacoma Langley Crossroads. The Housing Division will be holding a tenant forum to bring renters in the city together to learn about tenant laws, eviction protections, policies the city is considering, and resources for renters. The forum will be held on May 21st at 6:30 p.m. at the Community Center Auditorium. Housing Initiative Partnership, Montgomery Housing Partnership, the Department of Health and Human Services, and others will be staffing tables before and afterwards to provide residents with information about their services. Timothy Gratton, our Code Enforcement Officer, is coordinating with County Code Enforcement to address property maintenance in rental properties along Houston Court, working to address not only interior maintenance, but also exterior issues that contribute to neighborhood health, safety, and overall cleanliness. From the library, Phil Shapiro was named one of the Library Journal's Movers and Shakers this year. 50 people were chosen annually for this title, which is nationally recognized. We are very proud of his achievement, and we wish Phil a speedy recovery after a successful major surgery last week. The Friends of the Tacoma Park, Maryland Library are holding a book sale at the library on New Hampshire Avenue on Saturday, May 18th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Their annual meeting, featuring speaker Mark Maurer, former executive director of the Sentencing Project, will follow on Monday, May 20th at 7 p.m. at the library as well. I'd like to provide a bit of an update from the police department on the photo enforcement. For the speed camera program, city staff conducted a comprehensive review of our current speed camera deployments. Overall, speed camera violations are down, which is a good thing. This means driver behavior has been corrected, which is the purpose of photo enforcement programs. The city has 9 speed cameras deployed in the city. 5 of the 9 speed cameras have experienced a sharp decline in the number of violations observed. The reduction in violations at these locations is due to several factors, including corrected driver behavior, the purpose of the program, and some structural changes. The addition of four-way stop signs at a number of different intersections. The number of citations generated by these cameras does not justify having the cameras at these locations for traffic safety reasons. All 5 cameras are being taken out of service. We will periodically assess if reinstallation of the cameras may be needed. With respect to the red light camera program, we are pleased to announce that we are finally getting our red light camera program up and running. SHA has finally approved the permits for our sites in the city, and we expect to have all cameras installed and operational by mid-June. There will be a 30-day period where warnings are issued to violators before citations are issued. 7 cameras will be installed in the city. The locations are southbound New Hampshire Avenue at Glenside Drive, northbound New Hampshire Avenue at Erskine Street, northbound New Hampshire Avenue at Holton Lane, southbound New Hampshire Avenue at Ethan Allen, northbound Piney Branch Road at Philadelphia, southbound Piney Branch Road at Philadelphia, and finally, eastbound Philadelphia Avenue at Piney Branch Road. Many thanks to Mayor Searcy and our District 20 elected officials in assisting us to get SHA to finalize the permit approval process. Recreation. Action Youth Media will be screening the film developed by the Recreation Department's Filmmakers in Action Teen Camp at the AFI Silver Theater and Cultural Center on May 18th at 11 a.m. as part of their Youth Media Festival. The MoCo Youth Media Festival celebrates the creativity and impact of young filmmakers and artists in the DMV area. And finally, from the City Manager's Office, this week's shout out is from the Communication Department, who would like to give Ryan Kelly, Communications Specialist, a shout out for his work on our social media platforms. Right from the start, Ryan told us how much he loves communications and how important good outreach tools are for the community. Ryan's storytelling ability shines through in the captivating social media stories he crafts on our social media platforms. His efforts have not only significantly increased participation in our programs and projects, but have also impacted engagement with residents and businesses alike. His attention to design has further bolstered our social media presence as the new branding has been added. Ryan is flexible, adaptable, and able to troubleshoot like a pro. He is currently evaluating social media tools that will help with posting and tracking our performance with metrics, while evaluating which engagements are reaching our intended audience. This means that Ryan can spend more time in the field meeting the community face-to-face, which is his real passion. That concludes my report this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Siemens?
Thank you, Mayor. And Mr. DeSpirito, I wanted to thank you and the police department for reevaluating the speed cameras. I think that, you know, at the time that those were installed, there was a lot of discussion about whether or not we should be having the speed cameras, and the whole goal and purpose was to decrease accidents. And so I appreciate the fact that now that we've reevaluated their use, that we are sticking with our original goal, which was to decrease accidents. And if they're no longer needed, that's a real plus. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Siemens. Councilmember Honzak?
I forgot just a quick, you reminded me of something I wanted to share related to our excellent staff, city staff, and Bike to School Day today. Today was Bike to School Day, and I will share, because we're talking about things like SHA and roads and whatnot, I took my 7-year-old on the Sligo Creek pathway up to Rolling Terrace, not to Rolling Terrace, to Sligo Creek Elementary and Silver Spring International Middle School. And there's a lot of work to do there because you can't do bike to school day at those two schools right now because it's so dangerous. But I was inspired knowing that other schools were doing it. And last night, our city staff, Casey, came to Rolling Terrace and did a really great presentation for the Rolling Terrace kids. And I just want to say a shout out. Thank you. You made the school feel really recognized by the city, and that's really important to our part of the community. And she even gave them an award for having the first bike rodeo in the Tacoma Park area, I believe, which means they brought in a special set of actors to help give every child, even disabled children in the school, the chance to ride a bike during this week. So she gave them a special bicycle honorary award from the city. So thank you, staff.
Thank you so much, Councilmember DeBala.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to ask, are there any flyers for the tenant meeting? Does any, that I could get from somebody? Thank you.
Councilmember Small.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted for the staff, in case people bounce in and out of these, to discuss a little bit about the redeployment or lack thereof with regard to our speed camera program, so people will know, so that they know why we either are redeploying or not going to redeploy in the future.
So, Chief, would you be willing to address that more specifically than I could? Thank you.
Absolutely. I think the question was pertaining to why would the cameras were taken offline, and are we going to redeploy them? So all of the sites within the city have been maxed out. So all of the 9 cameras that we had are deployed in areas of the city that we could deploy cameras. So we are not going to redeploy any of the cameras that are being taken offline. Now, we will continue to reevaluate those sites to see if accidents have increased, if citations or violations have increased, and so on and so forth. But we are not even if we wanted to, we cannot take those cameras and just place them somewhere else. There's strict criteria for placement of those cameras.
Thank you, Chief.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to, I'm just checking to make sure we don't need a break before voting session. Otherwise, we're going to move into voting.
Yeah, they shouldn't be.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so the first item on the agenda for voting for this evening is the first reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 tax rates.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Small, for moving. Thank you, Councilmember Fulcher, for seconding. I just want to do a quick check with the city manager to see whether or not there are any things that we should be aware of that have changed since we've last seen this resolution and established a tax rate for the city.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Andrew, could you provide some information about some adjustments that were made?
Sure.
Please.
Yeah, so as you will see, the tax rate has not changed from what we talked about, but if you look at the reconciliation sheet, the final sheet does have a few adjustments, and I'll just briefly walk through those. There's been no adjustments in the proposed revenue prior to what we talked about back on April 29th. No changes in sustainability, intern, or recreation teen staffing. We have delineated specifically here, though, where the salary will be and what the benefits will be. There was a slight change in the way we're accounting for the delay in the Maryland paid leave. Originally, we were showing it all through the general fund, but there are positions that are funded through other funds. So there's a very slight adjustment there that you see reflected, for example, in the ARPA fund. There's an increase in the general contingency amount by the very slight amount of $66. That contingency amount is set by city code or by the charter. And that's based on our revenue. So now that we have the slight change in revenue, that's the adjustment that needs to be made for that. That's that 13,000. Capital, no other changes to the Boyd Alley apron. We are showing the decrease in the equipment replacement reserve on the facilities side and expenditure. That is now shown on the sheet because we're using ARPA funds instead for that expenditure. And I think that captures everything. The other changes you'll see again are the accounting for the delay in Maryland paid family medical leave and the associated accounts with that.
Great, thank you. All right, so because this is the first reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 tax rate, Councilmember Small moved, Councilmember Fulcher seconded. We're gonna do a roll call on this.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I just wanted to, I mean, I think we are all relieved that we have a flat tax rate that we're going to vote on shortly, and that we also have the roughly 17% in reserves. I just want to read from the proposed budget from our city manager some background that maybe makes us think twice about how, not what we've done, but where we're going.
I'd like to call a question on the vote.
My staff and I will work over the course of the next year in preparation for the proposed FY 2026 budget to develop strategies for returning the city to more solid and sustainable financial footing, including less reliance on excess reserves and grants to pay for the general fund appropriate expenditures. I just wanted to bring that, remind folks that we do have some issues.
Thank you, Councilmember Gibson. Just want to, if folks want to have general comments about the budget, where we are, and your opinions on them, if we just can call the vote, and then we'll have an opportunity to do that after the vote. With the clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Searcy?
Aye.
Councilmember Fulcher?
Aye.
Councilmember DeBala?
Aye.
Councilmember Gibson?
Aye.
Councilmember Siemens?
Aye.
Councilmember Hanzak?
Aye.
Councilmember Small?
Huzzah.
And also just to remind folks, we have to do 2 votes on this, so we'll be voting again on this next week. Are there any other comments or lights, Councilmember DeBala? Okay, perfect. All right, so we're now going to vote to convene as the Stormwater Management Board. Would someone like to move for us to become the storm? Thank you, Councilmember Fulcher. Thank you, Councilmember DeBala, for seconding. All those in favor of convening as the Stormwater Management Board, please say aye.
Aye.
Do you have any opposed? Any abstain? All right, we are now the Stormwater Management Board. So now we're going to vote on the first reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 Stormwater Management Budget. Would someone like to move the first reading ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Small. Councilmember Gibson seconded. Okay, are there, for the city staff, are there any modifications or points of discussion for the stormwater budget?
No changes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Just, Councilmember Hanzak, I see your light. Is that just an old light? Councilmember DeBala, old light. Councilmember Gibson, everybody's ready to vote. I appreciate that. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Searcy?
Aye.
Councilmember Fulcher?
Aye.
Councilmember DeBala?
Aye.
Councilmember Gibson?
Aye.
Councilmember Siemens?
Aye.
Councilmember Hanzak?
Aye.
Councilmember Small?
Huzzah again.
Great. Now we're back to our old selves as the city council. Now we're going to move into the first reading ordinance. First reading ordinance adopting the FY 2025 budget. Would someone like to move the first?
Moved.
Councilmember Small, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Hanzak. Are there any points of discussion regarding the adoption of the FY 2025 budget? Are there any adjustments from staff's perspective? Same as what we saw? Perfect. I was just checking to make sure there was nothing they needed to highlight. Yep. All right. Okay. Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Searcy?
Aye.
Councilmember Fulcher?
Aye.
Councilmember DeBala?
Aye.
Councilmember Gibson?
Aye.
Councilmember Siemens?
Aye.
Councilmember Hanzak?
Aye.
Councilmember Small?
Insofar as this is the third one, hip hip hooray.
Excellent. All right. So now that we've done our budget voting, we're going to move on to the resolution providing city council support for the Maple Community Association's Juneteenth celebration.
Was there opportunity to say comments on the budget?
Sure. Are there folks who have? I didn't see any lights. If anyone has any statements they want to make on the budget, please feel free to hit your light. Okay, Councilmember DeBala.
I don't have a statement about the budget per se, but I do have, once again, great deal of thanks to all of the staff that worked on this budget and made some of the tough choices before we even saw it. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember DeBala. And again, seconding all of our appreciation to staff that have really worked hard to, I know this was a hard budget for you all and had to make some tough choices, but I appreciate you making them so we wouldn't necessarily have to. So we're moving on to the resolution supporting the Maple Community Association Juneteenth event. Would someone like to move?
So moved.
Council.
Oh, me. I was trying to.
Point of order, I'd just like to
give-
say that technically, Councilmember Honzak's hand just kind of got stuck on the pen, and so it was
I feel
probably
like I had that
mutual.
one, but
Tie goes to
fine.
the runner, so we'll give it to her.
So
but-
I'm gonna do a do-over and exude my mayoral
Move it.
privilege. So I just heard Councilmember Siemens moved, Councilmember Honzak seconded, yes, for their championship on this. So I do just want to check with staff to see, I know that there were some questions, to see whether or not there are any clarifying information or points that would be for the benefit of this council before we vote.
There was one addition to the memo, Mayor, which council has before you, and we can also add to the memo tomorrow on the website for posting. And that addition was a cost estimate for all of the city services that are going toward supporting the event. The short is that we estimate the cost is going to be about $6,000. And that includes services coming from recreation, that include the bus rental. The bus will be driven by a staff member, but the purpose will be to pick up senior residents from some of the senior facilities and bring them to the event. There's also some public works assistance for setting up and trash removal, and our police department is providing some public safety.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Okay, Councilmember Siemens, did you have any?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I first of all wanted to thank the city manager and his staff for the work that he put in on bringing this to us, because this was kind of out of the blue, if you will. We didn't plan on a Juneteenth celebration this year, and it was brought late in the game, and I appreciate your efforts on finding the money in this year's budget to be able to support this important program. I also wanted to point out on the cover sheet that there were a number of government officials who were listed as invited, and the list has been updated to say that everyone has confirmed except for Governor Wes Moore and the County Council Executive Mark Elrich. Both of them are hopeful to attend, but their staffs are working, as you can imagine. They both have a lot of Juneteenth events to visit that day, and they're working on scheduling to see how it can fit in and if and when they'll be able to attend the Juneteenth celebration. But all of the other politicians that we would expect, including city council, county council members for this area, and state delegates and senator for this area, are all confirmed, as is Congressman Raskin, and so just call that to your attention. Thank you.
I appreciate your comments, Councilmember Siemens. Some of the staff certainly worked on it more than I did. Deputy City Manager David Eubanks and Christine Heidelbrecht, my executive assistant, as well as Gregory Clark, Recreation Director, and I'm sure Public Works with Daryl Braithwaite, and also police and their personnel, Chief Duvall and his team. Nice little team effort to help work in a partnership with these residents in putting together an event that we strongly support, and we're very excited to assist and participate in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I just-
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes, just a quick question to Deputy City Manager Eubanks. I'm going to be meeting with the Tenants Association at Victory Towers. Is that something that this bus can help those folks come to the event, and who would I contact?
To be determined. We just decided on the availability of the rental bus today, but we can certainly get back to you with that information.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Fulcher?
I reached out to find out how Girl Scouts might be able to support the event, and already heard that the Boy Scouts have already committed to helping with setup and takedown. And I love that there's already volunteer organizations that are committing. But I just want to remind anybody who's listening, and I'm sure Arthur David Olson will be there, the last person standing in our audience. Just go ahead and permanently marker on your calendar on Juneteenth that this will be from 12 till 5 p.m. because the party will be there, but it's nicer if it's a bigger party. And what we're trying to do is create an event that really recognizes this holiday and how important it is, and we need it to be a big deal, and the way that is for people to commit to coming. So everybody come.
And Mayor, I just wanted to express my hearty thanks to the staff for seeing, recognizing, and prioritizing this as an issue. I unfortunately will be in the Midwest again for Juneteenth, but good on everybody. It's like you guys just a whole smack around public mundane government killing everything government right now, and so hooray for all you guys.
And so I'm so just elated that we are coming together as a community to make this happen. This is a holiday that I hold dear. It's part of my heritage. And to be in a community where everyone is coming together to celebrate Black people, African American people, and the contributions that we've made to this country.
Heck yeah, say it.
And the contributions that we've made to this country collectively is just a true testament to the spirit of Takoma Park. So I am so grateful to our city staff, Mr. Eubanks and the city manager, for everyone who has come together to help, and as more importantly, the Maple Community Association, and everyone's just come together to try to make this happen. And so I'm so excited and look forward to participating. And so I will be there. I will be there. So with that, we are going to vote. We didn't vote. All right, so we don't have to do a roll call on this one. At least I'm checking with Irma, I don't think so. All right, all those in favor of resolution supporting the Maple Community Association's Juneteenth event, please say aye.
Aye.
Do you have any opposed? Any abstain? All right, so we have one last reading. So we have the single reading ordinance authorizing a contract with NZI Construction Corp. for the Houston Avenue Stormwater Treatment Project. Would someone like to move it?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Small. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Honzak. Are there any points of discussion on this one for the city staff? Nope. I think everybody got the materials ahead of time. Yeah. Yep, Councilmember DeBall.
Yeah, thank you. I did send this in, but I'm not sure I remember the answer. So in the fiscal '24 budget, there was a small amount of money that was in the CIP for this project before it was determined to be eligible for community development CDBG money. My question is this in addition to, or is this instead of the $55,000 that was originally in the CIP?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
interrupt.
that's it. That's a question.
The CIP dollars, as you stated, were anticipated to be used before we designated CDBG dollars to be used for the project. So CDBG will replace the money that was included in the stormwater.
Okay, so at some point in the next budget amendment, we'll see that either as a transfer to some other stormwater project or rolled into the next year or something.
It'll likely be rolled into the next
Yeah,
year.
okay.
Realize there's a unexpensed amount of dollars.
Right, great, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm just checking to make sure there are no more lights on, okay, or questions on this matter. Councilmember Honzak, did you have any questions about this one? Perfect. All right, so would the clerk please call the roll, authorizing contract with NZI Construction Corp. for Houston Avenue Stormwater Treatment Project? If you could please call the roll.
Mayor Searcy?
Aye.
Councilmember Fulcher?
Aye.
Councilmember DeBala?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Aye.
Councilmember Siemens?
Aye.
Councilmember Honsack?
Aye.
Councilmember Small?
Aye.
Okay, great. So we've done our voting session. We have a work session that I am going to give everybody a little bit of a break. So if folks can please come back by 9:20. And then we will reconvene with our last work session for the evening. All right, good evening. Thank you all so much. We're going to reconvene tonight's meeting of the Tacoma Park City Council and move into our work session. So tonight we have one item in the work, well, actually, we have some guests before I went back to business. I'm going to turn things over to Councilmember Honzak to introduce our guests.
Thank you. I just wanted to acknowledge that we have two exchange students from France, 17-year-olds who have been watching the news from France and wondering what is happening in America. And they have come to see what local government at work looks like. And I just want to welcome you officially from the City of Tacoma Park dais. Welcome to Tacoma Park and welcome to the United States. And we hope that you can see that democracy is well at work here. It's nice to have you.
Again, welcome. It's such a pleasure meeting you both this weekend, and definitely hope that this experience has exposed you to not only government and the U.S. government, but politics in Tacoma Park. So, which is a very special place to learn about politics. So with that, we're going to move into the work session for this evening. Memorandum of agreement between the Maryland Office of Administrative Hearings and the City of Tacoma Park to provide an administrative law judge or retired judge to serve on disciplinary panels convened under the Maryland Police Accountability Board. And given that our police chief is come up to the podium, just want to turn things over to our city manager and our chief to.
Point of order, Mayor. Are you going to bind the length of this discussion? Yeah, we could maybe get out of here by 10 if you did that.
If you stopped doing the point of orders, we would. There's a plan to this.
My bad.
With that, I'll turn things over to our chief to just outline the situation and why this is before us.
Absolutely. I will be brief in my description. So I sent the council a bunch of information on the new police accountability law that was enacted recently in the state of Maryland. And what that did is it changed the complexion of the administrative trial boards for law enforcement officers. Administrative trial boards are held when an officer is disciplined over a certain issue and they do not agree with the discipline. As a result, they have a disciplinary board. So the new makeup of a disciplinary board, it used to be all sworn staff. It was all police officers. Now the makeup of a board, the chair of that board is either a current or retired administrative law judge. So that's what we're here to discuss. So that's part of the new law. So what we need to do is we need to develop a partnership with them, a memorandum of agreement to codify that relationship. So that's what we're bringing forward today. Just to wrap up kind of what the complexity of a trial board is now it's 3 members. As I said earlier, it's a member of the public. It is the administrative law judge, retired or current, and it also is an officer of the same rank of the officer who's involved in the discipline. So, you know, it's a step in the right direction as far as transparency. All of the trial boards are public, so that's why we're bringing this forward to you today. We fall under the umbrella of the Montgomery County Police Accountability Board, Montgomery County Administrative Charging Committee. We have not yet had a trial board in Montgomery County, so this is all new. So with that, Deputy Chief Philippos worked on the memorandum of agreement, so if there are any questions, I'll bring him up and he can answer specific questions about the memorandum.
Chief, can you just also confirm that this was put together, I guess, in conjunction with the city attorney? The city attorney is finalized this.
Yeah, I believe the city attorney sent all members of the council a cover memo just outlining the background on why we were bringing this forward.
And,
Councilmember Small.
Thank you, Mayor. And then just, Chief, quickly, as you feel fit, could you explain how this is the transition from basically one form of police adjudication or administrative adjudication to another, since I know you guys from a policy perspective have been kind of in on the front line of this?
Sure. So we are held to the standards, obviously, of state law. The previous law was the Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights, the LEOBR, which was repealed at the state level. This is the new Police Accountability Act. So it basically is the new law that changed, it changes a lot of things, but we're specifically here talking today of the trial board. It created the police accountability boards in each respective county. It created the administrative charging committee. And for the sake of time, I've sent the council background information on what those entities are.
Oh, yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that you had the opportunity to unfold that particular part of it, since.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember DeBala?
Yes, I just wanted to, I think you just said that there hasn't been a trial board. You mean in the old system or the new system?
In the new system,
Right.
The Montgomery County, so Montgomery County, the Police Accountability Board consists of the Montgomery County Police, our agency, the Rockville City Police, Gaithersburg City Police, so on and so forth. Since the new law has been enacted, there has not been a trial board stood up
Okay,
since that.
thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Not seeing any more lights. It's a lot easier
I
when
do?
it's, oh, wait a minute.
I just
I
want to
spoke too soon.
thank, Deputy Chief Philippos and I forget, Officer Captain Evans for being here, even though we're not going to ask you any questions because we're done.
He was ready, and we can thank him. Deputy Chief Philippos worked really hard on getting this MOA together.
Literally ready, like he was in like a runner's pose for a minute there.
Councilmember Honsack?
I just have a quick question. Would you mind sharing with us how the member of the public gets selected for that kind of a board?
They are appointed by the Police Accountability Board. So there's a select members that go through training, and they are selected through the Police Accountability Board.
At the county level?
Correct.
Okay, so would they be from Tacoma Park if it
Not
were
necessarily.
Tacoma Park?
They would be from Montgomery County, but not necessarily Tacoma Park. But there may be a Tacoma Park resident that may sit on a Gaithersburg City Trial Board or a Montgomery County Police Trial Board.
The reason I'm asking is I'm curious, in the same way that I know I've been working with various members of the staff to try to encourage people to consider applying if they have interest in policing issues. So in the same vein, is this something that people could apply for through the county and say, oh, that's really interesting to me to think about, how to be really engaged and focusing on accountability and policing? Yeah, is that something they can apply for, or do you have to be someone special?
No, absolutely. So there was a lot of comprehensive public outreach regarding the Police Accountability Board, not only attracting members that sat on the board and sat on the Administrative Charging Committee, but also trying to attract members of the public to serve on these boards. So absolutely, I could have for you some background information on how individuals would apply to actually be a member that would serve on one of these boards. It's involved, but I think that it's really important, in my opinion, that we have people from our community that serve, even if they do not serve on a particular trial board. So we, just for background, someone asked if we had a trial board. In the city of Tacoma Park, we have not had a trial board, and I think it's going on about 12 years now. So that gives you an idea of the last time we had a trial board. And that does not mean that we may not have a trial board this year. We may. It all depends on circumstances that are sometimes, fluid. But no, to answer your question, absolutely, any member of a resident of Tacoma Park could apply to be a member.
I do, just because I don't want Deputy Chief Philippos.
I'm going to bring him up to answer any other
feel like
questions
he's
that come
sat
up.
here all night and there are no questions.
How did you feel about the process itself? No.
I think the chief answered everything, but
So I do have a quick question about the memorandum of agreement. Again, I don't think it requires a modification, but it looks like we don't have, there is no termination date, but there are set rates. So in terms of the costs, and it says here the OAH shall be compensated for the work performed at a rate of $200 per hour. I just know most attorneys sometimes eventually over the span of eternity may want to raise their fees or adjust their fees. Are there opportunities for any cost fees to be adjusted that's noted in this, or is this just something that we lock them in at 200 for forever.
I think we're going to cross our fingers and lock them in at $200. There hasn't been any information, as far as I know, that there's any kind of space for rate adjustments. Just currently, the way the MOA is written and the way the law is written, it's $200 per hour.
Okay. So if that's what's in the law and that's what's here, they are trapped for 200 an hour for forever, which is great.
My mother, the attorney, is looking at me with evil eyes.
We're locking them in at 200 per hour forever. All right. Thank you so much. That was the only question I had.
Thank you.
Okay. I am not seeing any other lights. This item will come back before council next week for a vote. And with that, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you all so much. That means
see.
meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a great night.